Good morning, Sea of Galilee. There's one of the fishermen out there right now. Seagulls flying, sun's coming up, waves on the shore. It's going to be a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. Well, there's some of our folks enjoying the beautiful weather and enjoying the Sea of Galilee before we leave. But there's something very unusual today we seldom see. Look at how clear Mount Hermon is there. That's almost 10,000 feet high, covered with snow, the border between Israel, Lebanon, and Syria. And there it is, something we don't see very often, that clear. Breakfast is always delicious and multi-varied and people have a good time, but we eventually had to follow this schedule that we post in the lobby every day and go out to the bus, load up our suitcases because today we head to Bethlehem. Back on the bus every day begins with prayer. We arrive at Naf Ginnasar at the Yagal Alon Museum at Naf Ginnasar Kibbutz. It has this ancient boat, 2,000 years old from the time of Jesus. Was he on it? Who knows? And we watched a movie. Everybody sat and watched a movie about the finding of the boat. We all boarded the boat for a ride on the Sea of Galilee, and what a beautiful day it was for a boat ride.
The boat, and he met a man who was possessed with evil demons, and he cleared the man. He
That
healed
right
the
there
man
is the
from
whole
evil
land where
spirits.
Jesus walked and lived
Now,
and did his
the
ministry.
reason I drew the line is because, again, I try to mark the Jewish territory at the time, because if this is where we, meaning at the foot of Mount Arbel is the location of Magdala. So Magdala, Gennesaret, Chorazin, Capernaum, Bethsaida, all the way around, and you get to Gadarene. These are the Jewish settlements at the time. This is the area of his ministry.
It's also called, for us Christians, we refer to it as the Sea of Galilee. So it has a lot of various names, but we call it the Sea of Galilee. Amr says the way to remember the size of it is 7-Eleven. Have you ever heard of that? 7 miles across, 11 miles long. It's not a very big sea, 33 miles around. So if you did what I did, I ran all the way around in 5 days. I didn't do it all at once, but I started, we're in a hotel and I ran, and then next day ran the next section, 5 days. It's 33 miles all the way around. You remember that because that's how old Jesus was when he was crucified, 33 years old. That's how many miles it is around. Starting Mass here in Capernaum. You can see the Sea of Galilee where Jesus chose his disciples. And this is a glass floor. You can see the house where Jesus lived underneath. This was Peter's house where Jesus lived. And this is the synagogue where Jesus said, "Eat my flesh and drink my blood."
fact the mother of God, just not the mother of a super saint, like the holiest man that ever lived, who was in his will totally united with God, who was truly God and truly man. So, of course, we ask for our Blessed Mother's intercession. I understand also that this was the place where St. Matthew, a great saint, was called. So we ask for his intercession, the intercession of Peter, and all the many saints that have been in this place as we acknowledge our sins and so prepare ourselves to celebrate the sacred mysteries.
After the Mass, since this is where Jesus said, "Eat my flesh and drink my blood," I always give my talk defending the Eucharist, and all the kids crawled up in the trees. They listened from the trees, just like squirrels or Zacchaeus, I guess, but they had a lot of fun. I don't believe it's the body and blood of Christ because it tastes like it, feels like it, or my senses tell me that it is or isn't. I believe it because a space alien came from somewhere else, and the space alien told us things that we could never know here on the earth with our five senses. And Jesus himself told us this. And all Christians for the first 1,500 years believed that it was the body and blood of Christ, enough to die for it without any exceptions, until the Protestants began to have a protest in the 1500s, and that was the first time that anyone denied or even questioned the fact that it was the body and blood of Christ. This is the synagogue where Jesus said, "Eat my flesh and drink my blood," so we took time for pictures and had a great time there before we headed out to lunch. There's our two buses waiting for us, and they just dropped us off here at the Tangerine Restaurant, which is our favorite place to have lunch here in Galilee. They even have Santa Claus here to say hello to everybody as they come in. But here's our group, and they're already eating their fish. Wow, look at that. Looks good. How you doing? You gonna eat the eyeballs?
You're on candid camera.
This is St. Peter's fish everybody's eating now. Does it look scary?
It looks delicious.
It looks delicious. Great. Since we had two buses, I spent the first hour on one bus telling my conversion story, and then we switched buses after we stopped here for a nice snack and use of the restrooms. Then I got on the other bus and I told my hour-long conversion story on that bus too, but my voice held out, so I was happy. While our buses were parked at the rest stop, Janet was working on the schedule for tomorrow, and everybody loves seeing this sign after an hour and so on the bus. We had nice snacks and good food along the way and used the restrooms. Then we drove another hour and a half to Ein Kerem, the place of John the Baptist's birth and where Mary came to visit Elizabeth. And I gave my conversion story again on that ride. And eventually we came to Ein Kerem, the place of the visitation. And it's a little bit of a climb up the hill here. You see a group of people of our group coming up. And we arrived at the Church of the Visitation, where it took Mary probably almost a week to go from Nazareth to there. We've just climbed up the hill in the hill country of Judea to the house of Elizabeth and Zechariah, where Mary came all of that way, probably 5 to 7 days walking. Took us 2.5 hours by bus. How long would it have taken her? Here's the well where Mary met Elizabeth. Here's a picture of Zechariah, the priest offering incense in the temple. Here's a picture of Mary when she finally arrived with Elizabeth, and the Holy Spirit inspired and anointing both of them. And here is the slaughter of the innocents. And this is the stone that protected John from the slaughter. All right,
King Elizabeth. Big call.
Okay, I started, but then you do it. It's special for you. It's special for you. Here we go. we pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
And to the second joyful mystery, the visitation.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
We just went to the Church of the Visitation and we're heading back to the bus to go to Bethlehem. What a great group of folks. These are just great folks. We're having a great time. After the visitation, we headed back down the mountain to the buses where we headed to Bethlehem.
Have mercy on us and on the whole world, for the sake of his sorrowful passion. Have mercy.
We arrived in Bethlehem a little after dark, and as you can see, it was already decorated because it's the Christmas season here. We arrived at the St. Gabriel Hotel, beautiful new hotel. We unpacked our suitcases, got all logged in, and went to a nice dinner, which you'll see here, and then we went to bed. The food here is unbelievable. It is quite the spread. Fresh meat being cut over there. All these salads and vegetables.
It's like 2 weeks of walking.
Pretty nice, huh?
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
Everybody's having a great time. We had a long day, and now they get to relax and enjoy the food. I'm sorry we don't have enough food for you here.
Oh my gosh, I'm in heaven right now. I'm as close as I can get.
You're starting with desserts?
Couldn't decide what to eat, so.
And you know you're in the right group if you see this sign right there.